It is 4
Dave.
o'clock.
All right. Hey, Barry's here too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I only get
Yeah,
to
I don't
see
know about.
Allison and Bonnie on Art Girls, I think. So nice to see their faces.
I thought I'd join. I thought
Nice to meet you.
Yours too.
You too.
somebody invited me to join Art Girls, but I think that after I answered the questions, they removed me
Good.
Right.
because it doesn't show up on my groups anymore.
Good.
So, Larry, you were talking about squaring up.
The edges of a booth, when they
Mhm.
lean over, if you have the camera tilted up or down, the walls are going to be leaning either in or out.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
And it's easy to square up.
Yeah.
It
That
is.
and right, because otherwise it looks like you're on a tilt or something.
Right.
Yeah. It's always so tough because I have to Photoshop so much out of my booth image since my name is all over the place. I mean, that banner of mine, it's like 7 feet long by, I think, 5 feet high.
You know, for all the shows you apply to, you should get a second banner made without your name on it.
Oh, it's not a bad
You know-
idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because, well, now I'm using a different company. Because the company I used to use, they can't get the fabric that I love anymore. And so it's actually quite a bit cheaper. So that would be something. But in any case, it's too late now for
Wow.
this year.
Right.
But yeah. But and then that long scroll has a whole artist statement. Some shows want an artist statement, and it's just easier for me to have it on a banner so it doesn't take up the small amount of counter space I have. And people read it. I mean, the text is really big.
Yeah, but you can take that down for the booth picture.
Well, but there's a picture of a piece of jewelry on it.
Yeah.
And then with only one banner, it would look too sparse. So, it's
Allison, you
tricky,
create
but
your own problems.
Well, listen, no.
No.
With an artist statement on there, the only way you can really see it, from a photo or from a image, is if you blow it up, and then it's distorted because it's too,
But I've been told that all the text would be distracting to the jurors.
Well, it is
so
because they'll look to try to read it.
right,
It's
exactly.
human nature.
And
what
then
if
there's
you're
a
giving-
picture, and then there's a picture of me on it also, which that's
Are you
photoshopped
waving
out
at
too.
least? Are you waving?
No, it's a portrait.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you in
very
contemplation?
Pardon?
Are you looking up in contemplation?
No,
that
I'm
picture?
kind of out. You can tell it's me, but what I like is that you could actually see the jewelry in the cases.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. So, I'll work through it and square it up. And
Allison, when is your next show other than your market?
oh, not until spring.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so, it's the local art market. I've got about 13 scheduled, but, they cancel because of weather and you can be on the wait list. And then I'm teaching an online workshop in November, and I'll be teaching something in January. So there's some of that scattered through.
Great.
And then I'm also having my own little open studio. Our Santa Fe studio tour moved from October to September, and it was just too early and too soon after St. Louis. And it's also on the same dates of 3 other studio tours.
Oh,
And
Poor planning.
October was perfect. So anyway, I'm going to just have my own little open studio because it's nice to have a time where people don't have to make an appointment. It could just come in and it's very relaxing. And
Yeah, and you can put up Halloween decorations.
it's going to be in November after Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
turkey
Turkeys.
decorations.
But I always have homemade cookies, so people come for that.
Ooh.
How was St. Louis, Allison?
It was not as profitable as I hoped, and I try to analyze. But like on Sunday, we were really working it, keeping a good attitude, and Eric and I looked at each other and just sort of shrugged. It's like there was no buying energy. I mean,
Really?
people, like any show, people did really well, people didn't. Definitely a bunch of jewelers I spoke with were like, but yeah, so it's a lot of work.
Didn't you have one day of rain?
Um, did it rain at that show?
No.
Court says no.
Yeah.
No,
Court was
okay.
there. And
Yeah.
Court was at Kansas City this weekend.
That's right. You had a bit of rain there, didn't you, Court?
Maybe that's where I heard the one day of rain.
Yeah, it rained. It rained Sunday some
Oh.
and poured rain Saturday night, and the show somehow let some artists know that it was up to the artist if they wanted to close early, and basically everybody did. And it would just poured rain for about half an hour and quit about 9 o'clock, quit about the time the show closed.
Was there an artist who was that show that an artist had to go to the hospital for heat exhaustion?
Yes, I
Yeah.
just
Oh
saw
my
that
gosh.
today.
That
I
sounds
saw
so
the booth.
awful.
I saw the booth when I walked the show, and it was kind of unfinished setup, and the tent was up, but the front was down. I kind of looked in and there wasn't much in it. I'm not even sure if the top was on it or not.
Oh.
And yeah, then I saw the post and art fair reviews.
Has there been an update?
Just what was I read in there.
Was it particularly hot? Because I mean, I've heard it was very hot and humid.
It was about like it was in St. Louis on
No,
Thursday.
but St. Louis was kind of perfect. I mean, it was a little Thursday was hot, but
Thursday in St. Louis was hot.
yeah, but it didn't seem that bad. It didn't even seem that humid to me. So, and I don't like the humidity, but it's so awful what happened. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Charlotte
no
was, we were in Charlotte and it was like 92 and 98% humidity all 4 days.
Oh,
It was awful.
wow.
Ugh.
We would have loved to have rain. Didn't have rain.
Well, it went from low 90s on Saturday, and the temp dropped through the day on Sunday and
Oh,
wound
nice.
up in the low 60s by the time we shut
The
down.
tear down. Yeah, nice. At least
Uh-huh.
for tear down.
Right.
But evidently, a lot of people must have done really good in St. Louis because there were a lot of people, from what I understand, that dropped out at the last minute.
Out of Plaza.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
might not necessarily have done St. Louis. It might have been another show.
From the time I've done both of them,
Mhm.
it's like almost at least 50% carryover from one show to the other.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And I didn't pay that close of attention this year, but I know there was a bunch.
Hmm.
I wound up in a jeweler's booth,
Hmm.
Yes.
which I thought was interesting because I think at the point that they reached out to me on Wednesday evening, they were just desperate to fill spots. And I noticed two empty spots.
Wait a minute. Was that St. Louis or Kansas City you're talking about?
Kansas.
City. I noticed two empty spots in Kansas City, and both of them were by the stage. So I don't know if people had been there and
Just
at
moved.
the last minute they gave them the chance of moving somewhere else because they had something open somewhere else, but they were in the low 500s.
Okay, so the first thing I thought when I saw that you were invited was at least he won't be by the music.
Well, the
Mhm.
email I got, the invitation I got specifically said the booth was in a quiet spot.
Well,
And
that's
it
good.
wasn't then? Is that what you're saying?
The email I got Wednesday evening. She sent the email about 6:45 Wednesday evening, and I got it. I didn't check my email till about 8. And when I read it, I just saw the subject line in my email, and I thought, this is a joke or this is something, something else. And I opened it and it was legit. So I replied and got the insurance taken care of, signed the contract or something else, and paid my booth fee all, Thursday morning. And the good side of not selling any big stuff, except for one piece, is that I didn't have much to replace.
Mm-hmm. How were crowds in KC?
Crowds were good. My sales for my last 3 shows have been a bunch of little stuff, and a lot of other artists I talked to have all said the same thing. It's all smaller sales.
Huh.
They've talked to people and thought they were close on some things, but it just never happened. So,
What's the name of the Kansas City show?
Plaza.
Oh, Plaza. Okay.
Because there's another one in May called Brookside, which is also Kansas City. Different neighborhood, but you could walk from one neighborhood to the other. Totally different shows.
Yeah,
Totally
Brookside
different
is.
crowds.
Yeah, Brookside is a little bit smaller show, but in terms of number of artists that apply per open booth, there's more artists apply per booth for Brookside than Plaza.
Ah.
Well, I just remember that I could not get my Plaza people to come to Brookside.
Hey, Morris, I am in the studio at the moment.
I have had in St. Louis, I've had Brookside people come to St. Louis.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
I had somebody that had seen me in St. Louis, I think last year, came by in Kansas City.
Oh, that's good.
What about Belleville?
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, Belleville.
Is that going to run next year?
Oh, you're talking about Bellevue
No,
in Seattle.
Belleville, Illinois.
Belleville, Illinois is right
Right, but
outside of St. Louis.
Right, but Bonnie, when you I think you're talking about Bellevue, the Bellevue Art Museum show, which is not going to run.
Nope, I'm talking about Belleville, Illinois.
Yeah,
Oh,
because that's right outside of St. Louis, and it's also a high-rated show.
It's
so how come
2
that's
weeks.
not
I
going
think
to
it's
run?
2 weeks after Brookside.
It's Mother's Day weekend, right?
Yeah, it's right.
So
in
why
there.
is that not going to run?
No, it is.
There's some kind of Patty, who is it, Patty?
Well, Patty used to run the show. She's the
Okay.
mayor
Patty
now.
Gregory.
She's now the mayor, and they told her she couldn't run the show and be mayor. And so she has been. Okay, the article that I read was that there was a lot of turmoil between the people running the show and Patty. And that there's some question about the show going on next year. It was a newspaper article.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody was talking about either Belleville or Bellevue, and I knew Bellevue was closing down, but somebody had said one of them was guaranteed, might have been Bellevue, was going to happen next year, but after that was when it was questionable. And they were hoping.
Well, they were closing down the museum. So I don't know what they possibly would have next year.
No, that would have been Belleville.
Bellevue. Bellevue has a museum.
In
what
Washington.
he's talking about is Belleville.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
because
I think
Bellevue doesn't exist.
I don't know
Bellevue
which.
exists.
Bellevue's in Washington.
This is getting so confusing.
I thought
it's not.
they already
excuse
closed
me.
the museum.
So
I don't know
Bel-
which of the
so
two shows it was, but one of them was saying somebody was one of those two shows. Somebody was saying that it was going to happen next year, but they weren't sure after next year.
well, it doesn't sound promising. I mean, if that's so, Bellevue is outside of Seattle,
Right. And that
and that's
one, I thought I saw an article that the museum had already closed
I
just
think you're right.
days ago. Yeah, this is court, you're talking about Belleville. And I hope you are correct that they're going to go
It was just
this coming
it was
year.
just a couple artists talking at either Kansas City or St. Louis.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking
Bell-
about it, so I don't know.
The Bellevue show in the Seattle area will go one more year, but the museum is closing.
Oh,
Now
well,
I'm
that doesn't
totally
sound
confused.
promising. It doesn't sound promising for doing the show, though.
I agree.
Considering it's expensive, you know,
Long hours, yeah.
it's the least attractive setting of a show in the entire country, I think.
Really? Bellevue?
Bellevue.
Bellevue, it's in a
Bell-
garage.
Wow, that's tough because there's some pretty bad settings.
It's in a parking garage.
That's really
So
bad.
See, it was interesting doing St. Louis, Autumn and Art, which is my local show, and then the Plaza, and kind of looking
Yeah.
at how things were done. And maybe it was my attitude at the Plaza this year, but it seemed like the new owners of the Plaza were a little more artist friendly than in the past, than the previous owners.
It's nice to hear.
Excellent.
Well, I want all you guys to be on the jury for St. Louis and Belleville, not Belleville, Kansas City, because I need to get in.
I haven't gotten in, Barry.
What's that?
I have not gotten in.
I mean,
I just find that so hard to believe, Karen.
you know, like in 100 years ago, I got into the Kansas City every year, and then you know, then when I tried to go back, it's probably been 20 years. And same thing with Brookside. And I actually called her, and it didn't do me any good.
Did you holler at her?
No. I was on the wait list, and I was in Oklahoma City. This is probably 5-6 years ago. And I was driving home, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be really close to Kansas City. Why don't I call?" So I called her, and she said, "Oh," I said, "I'm on the wait list," and I never heard anything. She says, "Oh, that's funny. We've gone through almost our whole wait list."
Oh,
Well, what does that tell you? It's like, okay, we'll go through the whole wait list, and you're still not going to be in. So, you know.
So Karen, you had a run of shows?
I got one
How did
more
all those-
this coming weekend, and then I'll come home.
Ah, okay.
What's
Yeah.
your last one?
I'm going to the Peoria Fine Art Show.
Oh,
Have you ever done it?
Yes, I have.
What's it like now? Is it any good now?
I'll let you know. I haven't returned since COVID, so
Oh,
we'll find out. I had to cancel that show when COVID happened, and this was the one show that did not return my booth fee
Oh,
and there's
Yeah.
artist
because
organization.
someone on the board thought that they couldn't do that. I think at that time my husband was also having some very serious medical issues and with lymphoma, and they turned me down for whatever reason for refunding my booth fee. However, in the years previous, I had won an award from the show. So I just
That's
figured
great.
since I was out here, I had some time I wanted to spend with my sister. She's recovering from a knee replacement and she's doing very well. I thought I'll just hang out and do the Peoria show, go back and just do my best and try and leave with a better memory of that show.
mhm.
So we'll see.
Good.
Yeah. There's a little rain in the forecast, And I was watching the the forecast for the Plaza show, feeling very envious that I wasn't there with you. And then feeling like, oh, I'm really glad I'm not there with you because of the rain.
Right. Right.
But I guess it all comes around. There should be some rain as well next weekend in Peoria. We'll see.
You know, everybody was scared of the weather, and I guess it rained quite a bit overnight. But you know, other than the heavy rain Saturday night, the rain never was a problem. It was never heavy enough for it to be a problem. I left my tent open. My neighbor and I think it might have been his first. It was his first time there, and we did the deal where Plaza gives you 12 feet by 12 feet.
Okay.
So if you and your neighbor shift your booths to the outside edges in opposite directions, you get a nice 4 feet alley between, and you get a corner booth basically.
That's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
Or not a corner, but you get an outside wall.
Mhm.
And so we did that, and I had my small awning up. He flipped his side up over, and I mean, we had a couple leaks when it rained, but I left artwork up. He left his artwork up.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
That's good to hear.
You know,
I
Thank-
love when people work together.
ooh,
I
that just
like doing
reminds me.
that. I like doing that, having the fall corner. So like if I'm next to a 2D person, always suggest it because my cases are really in my booth fully. And so if I could open, even if we only have a few feet between us, it could work nicely. And then I have something nice to look at too.
That reminds me, because we had to tear down wet. I got to get everything out of the van tonight and spread it out in the shop so it dries and doesn't mildew.
Oh, such fun.
Yep. Well, it's always nice when artists work together. We were in Charlotte, the girls who are art girls may have seen this post, but most of us were on Verizon, and Verizon had a dead spot. So nobody on Verizon could get internet and do sales.
Oh dear.
So it was rather a
Wow.
challenge. So
Yeah, that's
my neighbor next to me was on AT&T, really nice young guy doing pottery. And he said, just use my phone as a hotspot when you,
Mm-hmm.
and that was his comment. He says, why can't we all just work together if we'd all help each other? So I was delighted I had somebody next to me who was so helpful in that regard. But now I
Isn't it?
got to plan
That's
ahead
great.
for another time when I can't get,
Could
never
you
had that
not make-
problem.
He didn't
Did
have
not
an
make
issue
phone
with
calls
his
either?
data.
Data didn't work.
Okay.
They had
Did you
local
make the-
they had local Wi-Fi. We couldn't get on it. We couldn't could we make phone calls? Barry, I hear you.
Yeah.
Couldn't get texts. I
Mm.
don't
Oh,
know if we could
really?
make phone
That
calls.
bad?
No, couldn't even
Thank
do
you.
texts. And we couldn't hook up to the local Wi-Fi because we couldn't we were in a dead zone. So
That's a direct. Because
Hmm.
if you
Yeah,
could make
so-
phone calls, you could actually turn on your phone as a hotspot because you have that network. But it was that bad,
I tried using my phone as the hotspot and just doing the
Yeah.
sales on my iPad. Nope.
nothing. Oh
Nope.
God.
Square did nothing. Only saving grace, aside from the fact that my neighbor was so kind to let me on his AT&T phone, or at least hook up to his phone as a hotspot, was I inadvertently on Square hit tap to pay, which I never knew I had the option before, and
Yeah.
that did work.
That's good.
I love tap
Really?
to pay. That's my
That
favorite.
that came in handy. So
I only use tap to pay. It's great.
Yeah, I do
yeah, now that
too.
I know I have it, maybe that's saves me in the future from not needing a hotspot, or maybe that's when I was on his hotspot and it worked. But yeah, that was kind of frustrating when most of the people are complaining they can't get sales done. So
And where was that? That was Charlotte, you
Charlotte,
said?
yeah, that was in
What
Charlotte.
was the show?
Just a local show. It's called Festival in the Park. I've done it in the
Mhm.
past with my previous body of work, but I never had that problem before. But
Right.
it's close by, and I wanted to test out my new medium and see how it would go over. And then I haven't done a show in 2 or 3 years, so I forgot how to set up the booth, and I had to practice. So that was a good close to home practice. See what works, what doesn't. So
Were you near some kind of electronics business or something?
Not that I know of. It's a beautiful big park in Charlotte, so not that I know of. But
So,
even one of the neighbors said she's on Spectrum and they share the same towers. And as long as she has lived there, her phone calls drop, her internet drops, and they've never fixed it. So I don't know.
You
Oh,
know,
so it's like a dead
they
zone.
Yeah.
they all share the same towers.
Oh, okay. Well, I went on Down Detector to see where if Verizon was even working when we got back home that night or when we got back to our where we were staying. And like the Northeast, Washington, D.C. was having problems, Boston was having problems, and I zoomed in on Charlotte, and one spot in Charlotte was having problems. So it was right there.
Oh,
Go figure. We lucked out though with a nice neighbor. So as you were saying, nice to have people near you who want to work together and help each other out.
You know,
I
with
find that's
Square,
mostly the case with
Yeah.
art fairs.
Yeah.
with
We
with
had
Square, you can manually type it in and then have it go through later on.
Yeah, I know that, but I've had several people who also told me when they tried to do that, it didn't go through, or they were like cards that should have been declined and they weren't. So then they lost out.
Oh
I
no.
thought, yeah,
Right.
I'm not so sure I trust that. So,
and you pay a higher percentage.
Yes, you
oh,
do.
well, that makes sense too. I didn't know that.
Well, Carol, how did your new work go over?
Uh, Great response, which was really, really nice. So it's nice to know that people thought it was really interesting and cool. That's the word I heard all weekend. Oh, it's so cool. I was like, really? Can't you come up with another word? Really cool. But no, it had really, really good response. And I sold pieces. I didn't expect to sell anything. So I was, because again, this was just to see what would happen. That was a nice plus.
Well,
It-
what
the-
is this? What is your new work?
It's 3-dimensional plaster on canvas. So it's relief work on canvas.
Oh, okay. What
Do you
fun.
do you have a picture? Can you show us?
Well, it's all in boxes at the moment. I can so
Okay.
Don't get up.
Show us.
I can't because if I unplug my laptop, it'll croak because it's having a battery issue. So unless I can show you on my phone, I'll see if I can find something that on my phone that will work, Bonnie,
Okay.
or whoever asked.
Teresa,
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'll take credit.
If you
You
have
are
it
allowed.
on your device, just make it your background image on Zoom, and then put your finger over the camera.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
that's a lot
Bonnie.
of work.
Yes,
Bonnie.
Barry.
That's a
The
lot of work.
Tigers won today again.
Did they? I hadn't
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah, they moved it to 1:00 because of the rain, and then Scooble pitched. He went 7 no runs, and then Brisky took over, and they gave up a home run in the 9th, but they were dominant. They were really great. Magic number 5.
Unbelievable.
All right.
From where they were
Yes.
to now.
Not focusing.
Yeah, I can see it's not focusing.
Okay.
Comes in
That was
and
the
out.
commercial break. Back to the.
No, go back to. I'm just trying to get it to focus, and all it wants to see is me. Yeah,
It's blurry.
I don't think it's gonna like the phone. I can't get it to focus on it.
Pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
It still sees me. I'm trying to get out of the way.
Pull back a lot.
Put it next to your face and then pull your face forward.
Oh, that's
I
there.
can't see it.
Put your face behind the camera.
okay. Go in and turn off
There.
blur background.
How's this?
This is great.
Yeah, see, it's hard to see. Oh well. I tried.
Thank you for trying.
I tried.
I'm speaking for Teresa.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
If I can figure
So,
out how to put it in the back, like Larry said, I'll do that, but I don't know how to do that. So
so I have a special order that I'm firing now, and they want a the person's giving it to the people that live in Toronto. So they wanted a maple leaf on the piece, and I thought, well, I can do that. So I went to cut it out and totally butchered it. Well, actually, I saved it, but it was like, okay. And so the second one, I took a leaf and I because we have them all over here, and so I sprayed the glaze around it. So and then it sprayed a light glare inside of it. So when I went to fire that, well, you couldn't see it. So okay, so what am I going to do? So this morning
Oh,
anyway, what I did was
There.
I took a leaf, I cut out around it on a piece of paper, put it up against the pot, and then sprayed the glaze on the inside. So I had that. And then I had to let it sit out to dry because that creates problems. So I'm firing it right now, and hopefully it'll come out. Hopefully you'll all I need to do is see the maple leaf. You know.
I know who they
So-
wrote for.
Oh, of course.
why don't you just press one into the wet clay?
Uh,
Oh, that'd be too easy.
Good
you
idea.
know,
I
that's
did that
really.
kind of thing.
You know what? You know what? That's really funny because I didn't think of it, and that's so logical. Duh. You
I
know.
used to do that kind of thing. That and lace makes nice
Oh
impressions.
my God! I can't believe.
Sometimes
why
the
it's nice-
simplest things are the
That's
It's
why
nice
hardest
being
to
a
think
beginner,
of.
you know.
That's why you come to these things, Barry. Learn
Yeah.
new things.
But you,
Oh
but
my
you
God!
do it and find out it was the wrong kind of leaf.
That's the kind of thing
Yeah.
you learn in a high school clay class or an art class that you're doing. You know, you're sampling everything, and you do clay, and when you do clay, you press leaves and stuff into the slab. Oh God, I can't believe this.
That was
Well, it better come
undergraduate
out now.
ceramics.
Now it's got to come out.
Well, make another one and press one in.
Oh,
See what
but
that
I'm
looks
leaving.
like.
But I'm leaving Friday or Thursday or Friday to go do the show where the guy's going to come and pick it up. So
Oh,
it's got to
I'll try
work.
it out for next time.
I hope he appreciates
Oh
it.
no, there's not going to be a next time. I don't press leaves into clay. I just did it because he wanted it. He was really nice to me, so I did it.
makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Now, everybody, Oscar was just elected to the board
Yeah.
of the artists,
Oh no.
the Guild of Artists and Artisans.
Wait, that's tomorrow, right?
What's tomorrow?
The
No.
meeting. Oh, look who's lurking in the background here.
Last week.
It was last week.
I don't know what
Oh.
this board explain. What's the title again?
It's the Guild of Artists and Artisans. They put on the biggest part of Ann Arbor and 8 other shows.
Oh,
Yeah, if you've been around longer than like 3 or 4 years, it's called the Michigan Guild.
congratulations,
yeah.
Oscar.
I got Bonnie for boss, so I don't know what to tell you.
Get out the whip, Bonnie. Get out the whip. Show him who's
Oh,
boss.
He's going to have fun.
Yeah,
What do you have to do as a board member?
I don't know. Chris only got me to this, and I'm willing to learn. You know, it's a good way to learn.
Well, you know,
Well, before we're going to meet a little early before
Yeah,
his
8
first.
o'clock on my time. I was going
Oh.
like, they are kidding me with this hour. I
Well-
pajamas and having a cup of coffee, and the Saturday I need to work 68 hours a day before, after the show. I don't know.
You can be in your pajamas with your coffee. Nobody will know.
Oh,
it's a love
But we're-
fest anyway. It's just,
The first,
it's like,
the first board meeting, we're meeting an hour early to give them their orientation, I guess. So it'll be
I'm
good. He's
heading-
going to be good.
I'm heading to Chattanooga for the weekend to do an emerging artist
Oh.
workshop, our first one.
That's right.
great.
And we have 32 artists.
That's great.
oh wow.
And what I
Wow.
find it interesting is because I asked for their medium and I asked how long they'd been an artist. and how many shows they had done. Almost half the people there have been artists for at least 5 years. I have one person that's been an artist. It said 50 years. A lot of people have been doing
50?
stuff 15, 20 years that have never done shows.
Hey, I'll be gone for a
actually-
couple of minutes.
I didn't do shows for probably 5 years. Well, I did local open studios before I ever did an art fair, kind of building up to it. So, so I could kind of see that. They might just, do little things nearby and
Court,
But-
it's been driving me crazy. What's the picture behind you? What is it of?
That is a test shot from my drone right after they harvested a wheat field.
Okay, I couldn't figure out whether it was grain or snow or what. So
Yeah, and
thank
the
you.
loops, the big tracks that you're seeing that form the loops are from the combine.
Okay.
It looks like a BMX field.
It looks like a track, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I have 32 people. Let's see, where's my list? Let's see, 7 years, 5 years, 6 years, 3 years, 60 years, 1 year, 3 years, 3 years, 30 years, 5 years,
60.
6, 33, 50 years, another 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, 16 years.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You're going to have fun. Can you do this without me?
On Wednesday, I think I can handle it. On Saturday, if you get a FaceTime call on Saturday, just be aware that you will be on camera.
Okay. That's so funny. And where this is coming from is I was the second fiddle on his emerging artists,
On our Zooms.
whatever, on the Zooms.
And I talked to 3 new artists at St. Louis, a couple at my local show. One artist in St. Louis, he was a photographer, had about 5, maybe 6 pieces in his booth. Very nicely done booth. 5 or 6 huge pieces in his booth. Looked at it, thought, okay, this guy's been doing it forever. Started chatting with him. This is his 15th show.
He's a quick learner.
I don't know, or he had somebody helping him. We talked about it. And I told him about the Zooms and everything, and he was interested, but he did some research or had some help somewhere because his booth looked like he'd been doing it for a long time.
So he may
That's
have done
great.
his own research, walking shows and things like that. And I mean,
Yeah.
Seems like people used to do that all the time. People were always walking around and asking questions and like, what kind of canopy is this? And what do you do for weights? And just all those things.
And my biggest surprise visitor for all 3 shows was Saturday. I was kind of dealing with I had the side that I had open, I had that side rolled up, and I was getting some water dripping off the middle, and I was trying to figure out where the water was coming from. And I reached up and kind of pulled on the roll a little bit, and it just peed right in my face. And this lady kind of chuckled and said, I've had that happen to me. And I said, yeah, I was just trying to find out where it was leaking. I guess it doesn't matter right now. She goes, oh, I'd like to know. I work for Flourish.
Oh,
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 Sage? Was it Sage?
So I chatted with her and her husband. I think it was her husband. And she asked if she could shoot a photo of my booth for, I'm not sure what for. I know they have some booths on their website. And I said, fine. I filled out she gave me a little model release form to fill out. And I handed it to her, and she turned around and hands me a $50 off of my next order coupon.
oh,
nice.
Now, Core, if you don't want to use that $50 coupon, you can mail it to me.
No, it is it's already spent, Oscar.
Damn. Oh.
gotta love it.
But they were both very nice, and I realized, I thought about it. That's probably the closest big show to them. Because they're in Northeast Arkansas, probably just a couple hours south of Kansas City, if that far.
It wasn't Luke and his wife.
What's that, Bonnie?
It wasn't Luke and his wife. Well, he
It was-
would have been the one talking.
It would have been Ben. It was Ben and his wife, I think. And
Okay.
I don't remember her name. Younger couple. Not real young, but younger than me, which is a lot of people.
Luke isn't in.
I think that Luke is not there anymore, Bonnie.
No?
I
Aw.
don't think
He was
so.
great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
talked to somebody, and they thought it was one of the original owner's daughters, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
But she's been answering the phone more often now.
Yeah, Sage. She's always seems to be answering the phone every time I call.
I never had a Flourish canopy, but they serviced the craft huts after craft hut people retired. And I got my stay bars, and I've gotten a lot of things from Flourish. I got indoor
Well-
drapes and
I didn't realize that Show Off was the original tent manufacturer. And then Craft Hut, and then Flourish.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you, in terms of build, I still think the depending they have to put together, but the trim lines by far, once the thing is up, it's up.
Oh, my neighbor, a Show Off, and I don't know how the aluminum handles the stress, as opposed to the steel. But the Show Off and the Craft Hut and the trim line are all very similar design.
Yeah, but it's still, I was talking to a person that has the light dome. They do print makers, Jonathan and I forgot the name of his wife, but he was saying that he's going to switch to a trim line because the light dome feels like it's too flimsy in bad weather.
I have a light dome, and the first time I've ever had to replace a part was just this summer from a microburst. And I've had it since apparently 2010. And I mean, obviously, a steel tent is more durable than aluminum, just because it's steel. But the reason I have the light dome is just because of weight in the car. And so, it's been great, with the right weights and the stay bars and all of that. And I like that I can replace parts, so it's not that expensive to, I was looking into bending the leg that the microburst curved it, but it's, it was, you want your tent to not be flimsy. And so I just decided to get the leg. But yeah, no, it's actually pretty durable. And it's
There is one artist. It's a couple. They're jewelers from Colorado and New Mexico. They have both places listed on their sign, and they've been by me a couple times at this show in Wichita. And I swear they have one leg of their tent. They put it in the back that if you dropped a plumb line straight down from the corner where it attaches to the ground, the bottom of the leg is kicked out like 6 inches.
oh,
I don't know how the tent stays up.
right. I mean, it's like with shipping, it's about $100 to replace. So, it's not bad. I mean, given
Yeah, I need to replace one. I think I need to replace my corners of my tent because there's one that is kind of throwing the tent off, but I cannot figure out which part it is. So on Friday night, I guess I will put on the level and try to figure out which one is the one that's busted. But I need to figure out what's damaged so I can replace it. But every time I talk to them, they say, "You order so much from us." Yeah. Then I need to order more stuff, little by little. But I cannot tell you, the shipping is expensive, to be honest with you.
We used to have a trim line we bought used, and it was a great tent. We used it for 2 years. And then last year we got a light dome, and we upgraded our pro panels and, with the 10 hooks. And then I bought stay bars for the light dome. And so I've got 3 stay bars, pro panels, and so everything's really locked in. And that thing is, and I've got 50-pound weights on each corner. And then I just bought.
Well,
if I could use
trying to get into a Zoom meeting, so try to keep it down to a dull roar, okay? Old school.
Yeah. I just
mean,
bought.
Come on.
I just bought 4, kind of like the pet screws for the dirt,
Dog
and
stakes.
so and so those I can drill in with my drill, and then it comes with a loop. So just in case, but I also have an additional 20 pounds for each leg I can
no
carry
kidding.
with me. But I love the fact that I can set up the light dome really quick, and that's really nice. But yeah, that trim line was definitely beefy.
I'm here.
One thing to be aware of is that those
I see the picture, but I can't get the sound.
it would be nice if people
It's like
could
10
mute
minutes
themselves
slower,
if they're on the
40
phone.
minutes late.
Hey, Bill, can you hear us?
Can you mute him, Larry?
Yeah.
Was right.
10
minutes ago was right.
Yeah.
There.
Okay, thank you. Those dog stakes, if it moves too much or whatever, it will bend. So don't totally depend on those.
Well, see, I didn't get just regular dog stakes. This is a heavy gauge steel. But you're right. Yeah, I have noticed because we have 3 dog stakes that we used to use for our dogs before we did shows. And you're right; we had a lab that just basically almost ripped one right out of the ground after bending it. But
so
these are beefy.
I did a show this summer.
Old school.
And there was a double tent. They had 700 pounds of weight. It was steel. So it was a trim line, and it blew over, and like 2 other tents went down. So, all we can do is our best.
Audio.
But, but it can still happen.
Well, if you want the best screw-in things, it's called, I think they're out of Bend, Oregon, in fact.
Yes.
The big orange screw.
Yep, the orange screw.
Yep.
Highly recommended.
I bought them when there was a Kickstarter
Mm-hmm.
for them. And I'll be darned, they are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And it comes, the part that goes over the screw part for storage, that becomes the handle to help twist. And I can't say enough good about them.
It's
Now,
just that you can't use them obviously on city streets. So there's that.
No, but it's for the times that you can screw in.
Yeah.
Yes, we gave them as artists 2 years in a row at Art in the High Desert.
Oh, nice.
Which helped people because we're, screwing into the park ground. And we think that the artists appreciated that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially
so much
having
better
4
than
of them. Very
anything
nice.
else I've ever screwed into the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say something about canopies. I started out, somewhere mid-career. I got a craft hut, and my corners were soldered on, made for much more stability than the later models. And there was nothing better for security in a storm. And then I decided that I needed to go back to my old light dome that I'd used. I guess I used the light dome maybe before the craft hut. One of the very first light domes. The thing is so wobbly, but it gives me great light. And as soon as you put those stabilizer bars on, it is solid. I just love the thing. And considering how old it is, it's kind of a wreck, but it still serves a function.
The artist behind me had a light dome. He was a jeweler, and he had big ratchet straps crisscrossing all three of the 4 sides to add that stability.
Yeah,
I've heard that's the way to go too.
Yeah. Yep, it really is.
The only problem I had at the plaza is, and my block is the only place where it's an issue, is the plaza sets up back to back down the middle of the street. And so there's a 4-foot alley between the booths. So a lot of times what you'll end up doing is you work with your neighbor behind you, and you take half of that and they take half of it. And you split it not lengthwise like the booth is, but shortwise. So you have a 4x5 foot area and they have a 4x5 foot area instead of each of you having a 2x10 foot area. Well, there's a small grassy median in the block where I'm in. So you had your tent 2 feet, a curb, and to keep people out of the landscaping, they put up a fence, snow drift fence. So it was a little crowded behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I was under a tree, which made for nice shade, also made for a lot of bird crap on top of my tent when I tore down.
Yeah.
Ooh, I hate when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Karen and Bonnie, are you ever decided to even consider asking Ryobi to sponsor one of the shows?
Okay.
What's your question again?
Are you ever consider ask Ryobi to sponsor a show?
Oh. That's a good idea.
I have an idea about that might be better even, because it includes everybody. Contact Ryobi and tell him how everybody uses their products, especially the fans, and ask, if we can buy in bulk or buy, get a special discount for artists for a group, like to recommend it. Like if any NAI recommends buying that, buying that one or buy or their stuff. Yeah.
I use the rigid because all of my power tools are rigid. So I'm
I'm
a
sorry. Rigid.
And mine is DeWalt because of that same reason.
Well, mine, I bought the Ryobi because I like the colors. I'm sorry. Certain things
The
are
yellow?
important. If it's going to be in my booth, it has to be pretty.
Pretty. Uh-huh. Yep.
Hey, I finally bought the correct lights, the LEDs that go into my track and the Jacoby power pack, and I can have lights all for 2 days.
I was surprised. I was surprised the number of artists I saw at Plaza still using halogen lights.
Really?
Oh yeah, I tried it with those, and it lasted 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even give my halogen lights away when I got rid of them.
And
Yeah, I have
hotter.
I tried to give away a box of halogen bulbs. Nobody would take them.
I run 15 7-watt LEDs on 3 tracks.
Yeah.
And with my I got the EcoFlow Pro with the additional battery. I can run 16 hours. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, well, do the math.
Yep, exactly.
Seven times however many you have, that's per hour. So that's per hour versus what you get, what you paid for. Like I get 1,800 watts.
Hey, I hauled around the biggest deep cycle marine batteries that they made for years. You all have it so easy.
There were those boat batteries, I remember, that I used to haul around. The boat batteries, the marine, the marine batteries.
Deep cycle marine.
Yep.
I
may still have a couple in my garage.
Hey, I put 2 of my marine batteries in the staircase, and after a year and a half, finally somebody came and got them.
That's a funny. Oh, I was just gonna say something about no cell service. When we were where were we? I can't remember where we were. Been to so many places, right? One of the artists, like 2 booths down from me, said, turn off your phone. And see, I always do that with everything. Turn it off and then turn it back on and reboot it. And sure enough, I had 3 bars. So try that next time if you can. I completely forgot about that. And but another artist had mentioned, if you turn off your phone and wait about a minute and a half and then reboot it, make sure everything is you got nothing running in the background, turn all your apps off and all of that jazz. And doggone it, I had 3 bars and we were able to continue. So
we did try that. It didn't work for us, but
okay, there you go. Yeah.
But thank you for the suggestion. You never know. It may help.
Yeah, I just that popped into my head just now. So
this is going to be everybody needs to have a backup plan. This is going to be more of a problem as they switch to 5G, because the 5G towers cover very small areas.
Wait, who switches to 5G?
Wait a minute. I have 5G, and I get it everywhere except for Traverse City.
Well, here's what happens. I've been in a couple of areas where it's gone to 5G and I couldn't get a signal. 5G signal does not carry as far. They have to put in more towers. And now then with 5G, everybody's trying to use a ton of bandwidth. So I found in a couple places where I had not had problems in the past, I now have problems with 5G. And I'm finding that more and more, as I roll out 5G and with more antennas, it's going to be really easy to, Carol, see what you did, just an outage, in one little spot because the antennas don't cover as much.
Well, yeah, it's
There
interesting
are
because
there
I
are
never
dead
had this
spots.
trouble before I've been to this show for 4 or 5 years, never had the trouble. And now all of a sudden I've got a new phone and it's 5G and I have that problem. So that's interesting. You should mention that, Court.
Yeah.
Carol, can you move your head so we can see your piece?
Just put your finger over the camera.
It doesn't all fit, but you get the idea.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I'm finally home, guys. I'm going to bow out. Hope y'all have a great week.
Thanks, you too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Teresa, are you still there?
Yeah,
Did you get to see the image while I was out of the way?
I did.
Okay,
And
good.
and it's amazing. I love
thank
the hand that morphs into the rest of it.
Well, and the front hand comes completely off. It's not even attached to the panel at all, and neither is the fabric. It's all flowing. It's only attached at the back corner and on her body. So it's extremely
Oh.
three-dimensional.
It's very cool.
Oh, you're cool. It's very cool. Thank you.
See,
cool,
that's what
see?
you get.
I'm glad I finally figured out how to get in the back room so you could see it.
Well, see, every day is an experiment.
Yep.
Good
But
job.
then in doing all that, I missed the whole conversation about what to do with lights without a battery, and we still have a battery. So I'm gonna have to go back to that at some point and say, what are you guys doing? So I'll come in another Zoom call.
Watch the YouTube. Larry's recording this for YouTube.
Oh, that's true. I can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Hey.
the suggestion, Katie.
I got a tent question. If anybody watched oh
Ivan,
God, huh?
Ivan.
Yeah, thank you. Evan's tent review for the extreme whatever it is pop-up tent,
Oh, I didn't watch that one yet.
and
It's on my list.
I want to buy one and use it for everything, but do you think there'll be some problems at some shows? I mean, I know some shows don't allow pop-up tents, but that's mostly the $200 cheapos.
But they look at all of them with similar innards, the same as they look at the $200 ones. I mean, yeah.
Well, the guy
Whatever.
the guy next to me this weekend had a $600 pop-up. He said he has applied to shows using a trim line that he took photos of all of his work, borrowed it from his friend, and he only ever uses his expensive pop-up. And I asked him, about getting into shows that don't allow it. And he said, I've gotten into them, obviously, because of the booth shot. He said, but even when I was there, nobody ever said, oh, you can't be here. Nobody said you have to tear it down. Nobody said you can't come back. Nothing. No one's ever said a word to him.
Well,
that was
Yeah,
that
but what
show.
shows? Yeah, but what shows is he doing? Like certain shows specifically say no pop-ups in
Right,
their
and he said that's
prospectus.
what he's applied to, and he still had his pop-up. So I
Right,
don't know.
but
I didn't ask
so
him
I'd
specific
say
shows.
right. So like I wonder what shows he's
Right.
talking
Yeah.
about because
Does anybody know offhand what shows?
I got to tell you, I've looked at some of the pop-up prices when I was
yeah, they're
researching for our the emerging artist Zoom I did on tents, and a $600 pop-up is a cheap pop-up.
Yeah, I know. I've looked at pop-ups because of the local artist market, and they're, they definitely 1,200, 1,400. I mean,
Wow.
You can drop $2,500 on a heavy duty
cheese and
pop-up.
crackers?
Sure.
Go ahead. This looks like it's going to be a while.
right. So how about muting yourself if you're going to be on the phone?
All right, I got to run. I'm still trying to get ready to leave town in a couple days, and I have a lot to do. So we will
Good
see
luck.
everybody next week.
I want to hear all about it.
All right, I'll give you a call on the road, Bonnie.
I was just going to say, Okay, good. Thank you. I am
All right.
leaving now too.
Bye.
It's been great seeing
Bye.
everybody
Bye,
again.
everybody.
And likewise, see you later.
Bye.
All right. Well, Larry, before you go, I did have one more question.
Sure.
So the piece behind me that I'm showing,
Yeah.
because of the way it's not attached to the canvas, I want to use this as one of my pictures, for an application.
Right.
Now on my in my portfolio, I have this piece and then an inset showing it kind of from an angle so you can kind of see over on the side to show how it's away from the canvas. Could you do that would you do that for a show application? Like a picture in picture or not?
Yes, you can.
Pack of cards.
It's a question of which one you want to be the dominant picture.
Well, I think this one and then the small one would just be showing them kind of a close-up of where the arm is, and how it's off the canvas.
Yeah,
just
but
so
you're
they
seeing, I mean, I'm seeing the depth to it just straight on because of the shadows.
Okay, but the front arm, it's kind of hard to tell, I guess. So I mean, I guess you can have the fabric on the bottom, but the front arm.
If
to
you
me,
could show
from
the
here, it looks
depth
like it's attached.
if you could show the depth in one image, I think it's a safer shot than having two different. That's I mean, just looking at that, I mean, I could see there's depth, there's relief to it.
Right.
Okay, it just, to me, it's like you can see the head and the fabric, but you can't tell the right arm because it looks like the hand is attached to the
Well, also
background still, and it isn't. So
the lighting is a little bit hot on the arm.
Okay.
Right, that's the thing. It's all about the lighting to get that dimension, right, Larry?
Yep.
I think I had a shadow on there, and it was really distracting, so I
But
put
you
it in
see, your
Photoshop and
light,
got rid of it.
the light was overhead, so there's more light on the arm than the rest of the piece. The rest of the piece looks properly exposed, but the arm looks blown out.
Okay. I got rid of the shadow under the arm because it looked really distracting. So maybe that was the problem. Maybe I should have left it. But I could always tone down the arm too. So
Well, but maybe you could get rid of the shadow with a fill light, something like that. So you don't have a shadow in the first place. I mean, I don't know if that would work. I'm not an expert.
no, I think the shadow would help show that the dimension, like the arm is away from the background. So
Right.
But-
And yeah, the arm does look a little flat compared to the rest of the piece.
yeah. So that's why I was kind of thinking if I did an angled shot showing like down the side so you could kind of see how it is. I would do kind of a shot in a shot just to give a better example, of what it really looks like. So, okay. Or I could just play with the lighting some more.
I think you should just play with the lighting because there's a lot of relief there that you can see.
Okay. I'll put it back up and try it again.
But you need to soften the light a little so you don't have blown out areas.
Yeah, it's interesting because
and that could just be the zoom thing.
Oh, maybe, but yeah, I mean I'm trying to think which angle the lights were, where that light was on that side. So I'll have to go back and retry.
I mean, here everyone's still doing shows and it's already time to apply.
I know.
Although I guess for I don't know if Oscar's, yeah, you're still here. You've already applied and gotten into shows, right?
Me, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to work in the April shows now.
Mm-hmm.
The applications I fill out, but you need to finish it. Oh my God. It was so good until now.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
Bumper to bumper soon.
Where are you, Oscar?
I was I started my day in the west suburbs of Chicago doing a job. Then I did another job in Chambers. My last job was in Crystal Lake, and now I'm driving home. So hopefully I will be home 5:30 Chicago time.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, I just get into O'Hare. It will be fun for you out there.
Traffic, I remember that. I don't have to deal with that these days much.
Just going or coming from shows.
Right.
Oh my God.
So is anyone else applying to winter shows now?
Winter
Where have we
shows?
applied?
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
Florida?
I
Florida.
guess. Florida and Texas, right?
Getting started.
So Maureen took over the Bonita shows. That should be interesting.
I've read that recently.
Yeah. So,
Wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
you know, I think that's a good thing because Maureen knows what she's doing. And I think that as much as the other people tried, they couldn't get the show back to a good track. So it was declining really fast.
Where was Maureen before? I forget.
Naples.
Naples, that's right. Right.
And when she left, the shows went down the hill really fast.
Naples? Went
Yeah.
downhill? Oh, okay.
She, from what I'm being told, Patrick pissed off everybody in the city hall, and it just got worse and worse and worse. Nothing better than piss off the people that you need to work to get the permits.
Right.
So figure that one out. So, I was going to ask you a question. I'm designing the double 10. So, and a regular pro panel size is 38 inches wide. So I got two panels. Will you put two 30 by 45 next to each other? Or just do it at two 24 by 36 so they have more room to breathe?
Say your question again, Oscar.
Will you put two 24 by 36 in 6 feet or two 30 by 35, 45 in the same space? So the panel, the wall is 6 feet wide. Will you put two pieces that are 30 inches wide or two pieces that are 24 inches wide? Because when I do the layout, it looks really cramped in my point of view. Did that make sense?
Well, certainly if you're, let's see. Oh, so you're 36 high, 24 wide by 36 high, 2 feet or 2.5 feet for each panel on a 6-foot wall.
Yeah, basically.
And you think it looks cramped with two 24-inch wide?
So the 230.
Oh, the 230s.
Yeah.
Can't you figure it out on paper?
Yeah, but paper looks. I put it in the scale, and it looks. When you put the oh motherfucker, you got to hit that person. You got to hit it. Oh, he didn't hit it. He stopped in time.
Good.
Oh boy. Good thing you're paying attention there, Oscar.
I am.
No, I can see two 30-inch pieces that's a total of 5 feet on a 6-foot wall would feel cramped for sure. I mean, that would be my opinion. You wouldn't have
Yeah.
much
Do
space
one
to
of
work with.
each. One of each.
Well, it only leaves you 4 inches on either side and 4 inches between them.
Yeah,
Right.
because when I'm doing the 3 and the 10-foot wall, it looks fine. But when you do it, it's amazing when you put it like in a smaller space, it looks cramped.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. You know, in my head it should be 224s because that's what I'm used to in people's houses. But I don't know if in the show the ink will get the same impact.
So when you do a double booth, are you going to assess, like, if the extra money for that booth pays off in a certain amount of time?
You know, I'm going by what Ivan. I don't know how you guys pronounce the name properly. I call him Ivan. But he
Evan?
told me Evan. I would say he told me this. That the only time you really need the double booth is in a high traffic show.
Mm-hmm.
And the other shows you can get away with just a single corner, which
Uh-huh.
it gives you the same amount of wall space to hang. If you might lose a few pieces, but it's something that I don't know, the thing looks with the 40 by 60s, it looks really cramped.
Mm-hmm.
And other thing that was funny this weekend, from the outside wall, I always put big pieces because you need to see them from far away. And the guy said, "Oh, so what happened if you don't sell any of the big pieces because you not only have a small pieces?" No, I got small pieces, I got print bands, but I don't have it everywhere. I put it more. It's kind of weird. And then I go to another show, and the person tell me, "Oh, you don't have enough big pieces in the wall," and I go like it's a 10 by 10, and I have 540 by 60s. I don't know what else I can do.
But Oscar, they say the same thing to me, like these showpiece necklaces. Why don't you have them all out? It's like, well, I have them to bring people into the booth, but you having them all out will make things look cramped. And, even though they're totally different, mediums, it's the same. People just say, I like to say, people say the darndest things, and they're just talking.
Yeah, I was just I find it that was interesting when people say that, and I'm like, huh? I'm going like, you know how long it takes me to design this freaking booth?
They probably don't. They probably don't.
Before when I was doing the paper prints, I didn't care. I can play around it. But now the cost is so high that every time I print one, I need to make sure that that's worth the real estate space they're taking in the wall. So how many sales I get out of it.
But I think people are just sort of making conversation, or that kind of thing. So
I hope so. I don't take it personal. It was just interesting to hear it.
No, I don't think you take it personally. But.
Hey, anybody talk to Camille, tell her that I thank you so much for doing me right.
For what?
I'm been helping my friend Ryan Rosler. And I do the applications for him. He's 70 years old, so he's having a hard time with the computer. So I do the applications. It's like I put it on the photography. It's like it's not photography. It's digital art. No, it's photography. No, I challenge you, digital art. I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And Camille emailed him back and saying, your work is digital art. That you want me to change the category because it's not the jurors are going to the judges question it.
Mm-hmm.
He emailed me, look at what Camille said. I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
It was just funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know the deal.
Guys, I'm bowing out. I gotta run to an appointment. Good to
Yeah,
see
Okay.
y'all. See you
I
next
gotta
time.
go feed Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see you
I
all
will
next week.
Hopefully.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry. Hopefully
You're
Barry will kill me.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, bye.